Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and today we're sitting on runway 26 right at Munich Airport in the tailless A321neo featuring the COSP sound set. We're ready for departure from runway 26 right, and we are going to have a little bit of a surprise here. We are currently very close to the performance limited takeoff weight, 93.6 tons of weight, almost 100 tons, and as you can see 93.9 is actually the maximum we can get out with this weight combination over here. So config 2 toga takeoff, no flex temperature possible, stop margin 709 meters. And with our weight as close to the maximum as this, let's quickly turn off the packs, as that is what we've calculated, and then we are about to take off. And we are going to have a little bit of an unpleasant surprise over there. Okay then, ready to go? Take off. Man toga, SAS runway, auto thrust blue. Thrust set. Knots, checked. V1 rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Okay, let's get it to climb. Very carefully follow the flight director right now. Pull heading. And this is where accurate flying becomes vital. Just look at that from the outside for a second. Rate of climb isn't that great, is it? Okay, so let's take a second while it lasts. Do a little bit of trimming. Okay. Autopilot. Okay, so flight path is assured. Mayday, mayday, mayday. Airbus 321, engine fire, standby. Okay, ECAM actions. So, engine 2 fire. Thrust lever 2, idle. Confirm. Thrust lever 2, confirmed. Engine master 2, off. Confirm. Engine master 2, confirmed. Off. Engine fire push button 2, push. Confirm. Engine 2, confirmed. Push. Agent discharge after 7 seconds, discharge. Okay, Agent 1, discharge. That is fire, Engine 1, Agent 1, discharge. Okay. The fire is out, engine secured. Engine out, acceleration altitude is 3,000 feet, so we're going to continue straight ahead for now. And it is about time to talk to ATC once again. Mayday Airbus 321, engine fire, we proceed on the runway heading, climbing altitudes 4,000 feet. Okay, 4,000 blue, activate secondary, and direct to Munich X4, insert. And also enter the holding real quick. That's going to be on 260 inbound right-hand turns. Okay, perfect. So, come on, 3,000 feet is almost reached. And now the rate of climb dies off. But look at that, it transitioned to a higher speed. We don't want to do that. Okay, let's pull that speed. That should give us back a little bit of our rate of climb. At least a little bit. You can see how sensitive it is there when we are flying at these speeds. And for some reason it seems on the TOLUS, when you activate the secondary, you mess over the engine out logic. Okay, climb performance, not really the best. It looks really impressive when you look at it from the outside. And just see where the airport is. Back there. And now look at how low we still are. That's really amazing, isn't it? Okay, about to reach 3,000. Okay, that's 3,000. Push to level off. Manage speed again. Normally you don't need to pull the speed. It should do that stuff properly. But activation of the secondary is somewhat messing it over in the TOLUS. Okay, so now comes the hard part, the initial acceleration here, and just getting that plane to surpass the F-speed. We also have to keep in mind the maximum time the engine is allowed to operate on takeoff thrust, which is 10 minutes. You can see we're at 6.5 already. Okay, we've got the F-speed, so flaps 1. Speed checked, flaps 1. And that is going to help significantly with our continued acceleration. You can see now we've got a decent tramp vector at least. Okay, let's take a vector into the downwind, as we will pretty much return without too much delay. Heading. Okay, and the acceleration is ongoing. You can see how much retracting those flaps to the 1+F position has helped already to reduce our drag. Okay, so we've got a couple of things that we need to think about now as we are accelerating, and the first one is obviously, what are we going to do? Well, we did have a fire, so my intention is to return pretty much as quickly as possible, but the fire has been extinguished. We can see that by the firelight no longer being illuminated. So the fire has been extinguished, and that means we do not need to rush things. Now, we have to keep in mind that we are overweight as well, however. Look at that, 93.5 tons compared to what we would normally have in the max landing weight of about 75 tons in the A321. So that is something to keep in mind for us, and that means we'll have to read the overweight landing checklist. So speed is slowly but steadily coming up. That is good. Then let's adjust the heading a little bit. Let's go 075. Okay, let's quickly reinsert the arrival. 26 left. Okay, reaching S speed. Flaps up. Okay, speed checked. Flap 0. Okay, and about to reach green dot, so open climb. Okay, and we're reaching green dot. With that we can now pull our engine back into max continuous, and look at that, we're at 9 minutes 20, while the maximum time the engine is allowed to run on takeoff thrust is 10 minutes. So we are just about on the performance limit of what the airplane can do over here, as you can see. Okay then, continue econ. Engine 2 fail. Engine start selector, ignition. And that's ignition. If no damage, engine 2 relight, consider. Well, we do have a damage. We did hear somewhat of a bang and the engine burned, so we are definitely not going to consider a relight. Okay, clear engine 2. Clear engine 2. Then engine 2 shutdown. If no fuel leak, let's have a look. So center tank is feeding the left wing tank, where we have a little bit less fuel, so that somewhat makes sense. However, we can't really determine if there is a fuel leak or not. So if no fuel leak, imbalance monitor will be monitored. TCAS mode selected, TA. So TCAS mode selected, TA. Cross bleed, shut. Okay, that's air conditioning, cross bleed, shut. Okay, that altitude call out is expected. Alright. Cool. Avoid icing conditions. Clear engine 2. Clear engine 2. Air, pack 1, off. Okay, well, we took off with the packs off, so we'll just about switch that back on. And the same goes for pack 2 as well. However, that is not going to work anyway. Okay. Land ass up in amber. Status. Stop ecom. Alright, so normal procedures. Let's see. Flaps, spoilers, gear, and packs. So system reset, we can't do any, and thinking about engine relights, we are not going to do that. Remove status. Continue ecom. That way around. Okay, status. One pack only if wing anti-ice on. Cat 3 single only. Inoperative systems, wing anti-ice, Cat 3 dual, engine 2 bleed, pack 2, generator 2, yellow, engine 2 pump. Remove status. Remove status. Ecom actions complete. Alright, let's take a moment to think about what we have right now and what we need. So, we've got the generators down to a single AC generator. That means let's go ahead and start up the APU so that we have 2 generators available again. And we'll probably need the APU again a little bit later anyway, so it's a good idea to start that. Okay, I would say the decision is pretty obvious. Return to Munich. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of the stuff over here. So how about we start with the overweight landing checklist. Okay, overweight landing. Use config full for landing unless specified by abnormal procedures or limited by landing performance. Landing distance procedure, apply. So let's do that. Landing performance, reset. So Munich, you know what, I'm quickly going to enter 26 right again. Here we go. Okay, so reset that once more. Wind is calm, 28 degrees, 1020, dry, anti-ice off. Landing weight, let's see, we are at 93.3 right now, so how about we simply calculate with the actual weight. So 93.3, config full. Air conditioning on, brake mode, low, reverser. Well, let's do reverse off. Normally we would enter the engine out here as well, but we don't have that available in the tow list, so I'll just do it like this. We can see margin 964 meters, overweight landing, we approach 158. Okay, that is good enough for me. So, let's continue with the overweight landing checklist. For approach, pack 1 off or supplied by APU. So that's something we should think about for a second. Engine number 2 is off. If you have a look into the bleed page and what the system configuration looks like right now, we can see that engine number 1 is supplying pack number 1 and the cross bleed up here is closed. Now, we can turn on the APU bleed, and then pack 1 is going to be supplied by the APU, and engine number 1 is going to be disconnected from the remainder of the air conditioning system. So that does sound like a good idea for me, so let's go ahead and do that. So APU bleed on. Let's see the system reaction. Here you go, the APU is now feeding the left pack, and the engine number 1 has been disconnected from the system. Very important over here, do not use the APU to power the right side of the system, because we fired a fire extinguisher into that engine. So there is a little bit of a chance that some of the fire extinguisher agent found its way into the bleed system, and the last thing we want to do is to run the APU bleed through this in order to blow that into the passenger cabin. So we absolutely want to avoid that. So we can use the APU only when we have the engine 2 fault with the engine 1 running. The other way around, since the APU cannot supply the right hand side without supplying the left hand side, the other way around we could not use the APU. Okay, so for approach, pack 1 off or supplied by APU. It's supplied by APU. Pack 2 off or supplied by APU. Okay, so we're gonna turn that one off. Air conditioning, pack 2 off. So if landing config other than full, use config 1 plus F for go around, but we do plan a flap full landing indeed. So speed at runway threshold, VLS, minimize vertical speed at touchdown. For landing, increase flare height, use maximum reverse as soon as possible. After nose wheel touchdown, apply brakes as necessary. When landing completed, brake fans on. And that's the overweight landing checklist complete. Okay, so we've got air, crossbleed fault, avoid icing conditions. Well, crossbleed is off, so obviously we can remove that, clear air. And then air, pack 2 off. Well, that's intentional, clear air. Status, and that is exactly what we had previously as well. Remove status. Alright, cool. Let's go ahead and prepare for the return. So, direct to Gudek 080. I'm going to do a quick FMS setup over here. No nav intercept. That is intentional. Don't need anything in the nav rats. Over here, Munich 26 right is in. Then, performance. What do we have down there? Munich 120 at 4, so it's a slight tailwind, but that weather is a little bit outdated. How about we quickly grab the latest? So, give me the latest weather, please. And here we go, that's better. So we've got 230 at 5, 29 degrees, 1020. Okay, first things first, let's activate the approach phase. 1020, 29, and then 230 at 5. So why did my plane just reduce thrust? Hey, what are you doing? It's supposed to maintain green dot, man. Okay, auto thrust off. That is not what the plane is supposed to do. Man, caught it just about on time here. Let's see if we re-engage auto thrust now. Speed. No, it's pulling thrust off again. That is not correct. It should maintain the green dot speed.
2,500.
Okay then. Well, we can slowly start our turn to the final. Heading 220 should be about good. Okay, this is annoying that we have to do manual thrust now. Normally the auto thrust should be perfectly capable of handling this, but normally auto thrust should never decelerate below the green dot speed without the flaps extended either. Okay, so we said we are going to do brakes low and then minimum 1670. Like that. Config full. No nav intercept. Yep, that's intentional. Okay, cool. So that should be about this part. Okay, let's go ahead with the normals then. Well, initially, nav. We're a little bit far out, not receiving the localizer here. That's more of a sim issue than a real life problem though. Normally you do receive the localizers 30 miles out. Anyway, that means we're going to use nav mode to intercept the final. So let's do a very quick approach briefing. Mora for the arrival, 3,700. We are going direct to Gudek already for an ILS approach 26 right. The minimum is Barrow 1670. Go around trajectory, we'll go straight ahead, climbing 4,000 feet, basically following the engine out procedures. Extra fuel, well, is plenty, almost 10 hours. Okay, guidance for the approach is going to be on the autopilot, landing flaps full, stop margin is about 1,000 meters. Reversers will be used on engine 1 only, and the auto brakes I'm going to use in low in order to relieve our brakes a little bit here. Okay, we're going to stay on the runway and have the emergency services inspect the airplane and our brakes most importantly. Special operations, in case of go-around, we can use flaps 3, but our performance is going to be quite limited, so that's something to take into consideration here. Apart from that, normally we should fly somewhat of an early stabilized approach, but at this weight we need to be very careful with our flap settings, so we might easily not be able to maintain altitude with the flaps out and the gear extended, so that's something to be very careful about. We are just going to extend the flaps a little bit earlier prior to Gudek, but that is going to be it. We are not going to rush anything. Have a careful look at the thrust and then we'll see. Okay, and that's about it. Any questions? No? Okay, approach checklist. Bow ref, QNH 1020, seatbelts on, minimum. Barrow 1670, auto brake, low, engine start selector, ignition. Approach checklist complete. Okay, let's go ahead and start configuring. We're 20 miles out right now, and seeing that our green dot speed is 250, that can certainly not hurt to start slowing down. But we need to be careful now. As you can see, we're above our VFE, so I am going to pull the thrust off just so slightly to get us below VFE, and then we'll extend the flaps into the next setting. Good timing is just essential now.
2,500.
Tracked. A quick word here, you can fly the aircraft into VLS manually, it's just that auto thrust won't do it, but there is, technically speaking, no problem operating in this range. You can do that.
2,500.
Okay, flaps 1. Speed checked, flaps 1. So let's quickly see if auto thrust works again. It probably will. So status, let's quickly review that once more. But first of all, let's see if auto thrust is actually going to maintain the S speed. But that looks good. That looks very good indeed. Okay, cool. That's perfect now. Alright, cleared for the approach. Glide slope blue, localizer Cat 3 signal, autopilot 1 and 2. Okay, so status page. 1 pack only if wing anti-ice on, that's not the case. Cat 3 single only. In-op systems, wing anti-ice, Cat 3 dual, engine 2 bleed. Pack 2, generator 2, yellow engine 2 pump. Okay, remove status. Cool. So, that's pretty much it. I'm waiting until the glide slope comes alive before I extend the next flap setting, because look at this now. MCT is 89.4% and we're operating on 77% only. That means we only have something like 11% of N1 left before we would exceed our plane's performance capabilities. Glide slope alive, flaps 2. So let's start decelerating it now. And now things are gonna get interesting. If we reach the F speed before we're intercepting the glide slope, then we might start reaching our airplane's performance limits. We'll have to see. But that looks good with the glide slope coming in, glide slope star. Go around altitude, non-standard 4,000 set. Okay, that looks good to me. Okay, we're down at the F speed. Let's see how much thrust we'll need now. But we should just about start descent any moment, and that should relieve us a little bit. Glide slope. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, gear down. Okay, looks good so far. The engine's running in 77% right now. Let's go flaps 3. I want to see if we can actually make flaps full, or if we might have to do config 3 landing just because of the thrust available. If we had a performance tool that would take such non-normals into consideration, that would obviously have made our life a little bit easier. Okay, that looks good though, roughly 75%, flaps full. Speed check, flaps full. So let's see how that's gonna look like now. Cabin. Okay, flaps are in full. Now let's see how much thrust we're going to need to stabilize here. The go-around is the challenge now. If we have to go around, and we are only using config 3 for that, then we will need a lot of thrust and we'll have a very bad rate of climb. So that's something we need to take into consideration. Okay, here we are, fully established. Landing checklist. Econ memo, landing no blue. Landing checklist complete. So look at the configuration now. We are stable on speed, 155 knots roundabout. And look at the thrust, we're at 81% N1, with the maximum being 88.5. So that is really not a lot of performance left there. Okay, cool. But as you can see, things do work rather well. So I'm going to turn this into a manual landing. We need to keep in mind the overweight landing checklist here, which told us that we should reduce speed to VLS just prior to overflying the threshold, and then minimize vertical speed at touchdown, increase flare height, use maximum reverse as soon as possible. So for that, I'm going to disconnect the automatics now, and now the pressure is on to do it right, because at this you only got like one chance. Okay, land. Obviously you can always go around, but being overweight you rather want to minimize your chances of go around. Okay, continue. So let's take the thrust off a bit, get the speed down. Increase flare height.
20, retard, 10, 5.
And we're down. Okay. Spoiler, reverse green, decel. Brake low. $70 knots. Okay, I'll keep the auto brake in to bring us all the way to a stop. Okay, after landing, brake fans on. Let's have a look. We're at 400 degrees right now. That is not critical yet, and with the brake fans on, we should hopefully get that under control. Okay, so that is basically it. The brake temperatures are still climbing, but I do believe we should have them under control, and an evacuation due to a possible fire in the wheels should not be necessary. So that's gonna be it, guys. That is the engine failure at the maximum takeoff weight with the A321neo. I do hope you found this one interesting. If you did, then do let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, do leave a like on YouTube as well, as it does help with the algorithms. And finally, if you're up for more, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this one. Finally, if you really love what I'm doing, I would appreciate a small donation through the Buy Me Coffee link that you can find in the video description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all again very soon.